What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to Tactical Newbie, the channel where a newbie like me gets into all things tactical. With the funny movie introductions out of the way, per usual, like we always do, let's get right into today's video. So today's video, if you could not tell by the thumbnail, is going to be yet another budget build video, a part of the budget build segment of videos. Again, if you reflected the thumbnail, and the thumbnail is what brought you here, this specific budget build, at least featurette, which is going to be a part 3, similar to some of the other part 3 budget build featurettes that I featured. Side note, before we get into the video, these part 3s will also be the last, at least a vestige of budget build for these specific plate carrier systems. Pretty much essentially am retiring, well, not retiring, but no longer building up these specific low budget loadouts that I featured over the last year and a half plus. Kind of slowly been progressing each specific loadout to its maximum evolution point, or to the point where I see it's going to make, at least provide the most utility for me as a budget loadout within itself. And then obviously, if you saw a trend, I will be correspondingly matching that budget setup to its Gucci counterpart over a prolonged period of time, much longer than the budget build, because obviously it takes a little bit of time and a little bit of money to at least get these more Gucci, at least Gucci items, variation of items, as opposed to their low budget counterparts. But with all the rambling out of the way, let's get right into the segment. So this specific segment is going to be a budget build part 3 for the TACTICON Armament Battle Vest Elite, and its corresponding, at least knockoff Warfighter Cumberbund, which is kind of a featured mainstay for Agilite. It was kind of like their at least upgrade for a couple of their more feature newer released plate carrier systems, those being I think the K0 and then I think like the Sub-Zero. Basically the Warfighter Cumberbund is basically kind of their step up variant of a newer style Cumberbund for both of those plate carrier systems, as well as it can be retrofitted for a K19 as well. One of the weakest points on the Agilite system, for the most part, I think most people can say across the board, is the Cumberbund setup. It's just a very weak and flimsy material, not very rigid, not very structured. So I think when it came to Agilite and obviously the Chinese knockoff manufacturers that also make pretty much a spot-on clone, I think it was to their best interest, obviously, to think and get ahead of a product that can retrofit onto the Agilite brand of plate carrier systems and provide a better structural cummerbund for the user. All things considered, this definitely is an improvement to the original style cummerbund on both the TACTICON Armament and obviously the Agilite, which are one in the same plate carrier systems for the most part, at least stylistically. There might be some differences here and there, but as it comes to the nuts and bolts of what they look like, they're pretty much the same. They do have, like I said, a drastic improvement, which isn't much to really, I guess, compound upon for the most part, because there was so much lacking from the original Cumberbund within itself. But basically this budget build video, as I ramble yet again, will basically be a featured template of the at least budget build for my variant of a retrofit for the TACTICON Armament Battle Vest Elite. Keep in mind that the budget clone Warfighter Cumberbund is supposed to be a budget variant for I think for basically the Sub-Zero K0. I couldn't really find on AliExpress or Amazon the at least the retrofit back panel that Agilite sells to basically be able to retrofit it to a K19. So me being me, and this kind of plate carrier system being kind of a assembly of different creative liberties that I've taken on it, I decided to kind of assemble my own variant of the back rear panel, which really isn't anything too crazy. It's just hook and loop Velcro, a hook and loop Velcro malleable panel, which bam, you throw that on the back, good to go. So basically you're going to see a full build out for this video. As I rambled, I just can't stop doing it, I swear. But you're basically going to see an entire build out from start to finish of the Cumberbund system. I did throw in the Agilite Pincer placard up in the top corner. Obviously, for anybody that followed the previous videos, you know that I assembled the Pincer placard. If you guys want to see a video of that, I didn't really put it into this specific budget build because it was already built out from a previous video. If you want to see how I kind of slapped that thing together, which essentially is just modeling 3 Pincer placard pouches onto a placard, let me know down in the comments, and I will throw it up as a short maybe at some point. Yeah, aside from that, enjoy the video, and I will see you guys on the other side.
Alrighty, and away we go. So similar to, I guess, the most recent budget build fashions, I'm going to just add some additional commentary to this budget build video, as most of you guys have, at least for the most part, made it at least pretty obvious that having at least some sort of back commentary explanation of kind of my thought process of how I was working with this specific setup, some of the at least difficulties that I ran into, some of the pros, some of the cons and stuff like that. Most of you guys, at least in the comment section said that this would be something that you would at least like me to touch on through at least the build portion of the video. So that's, of course, what I'm going to continue to do. All things considered, the installation of this panel actually wasn't too difficult, all things considered. I did run into a couple minor bumps through installation, but first what I'll do is I guess I'll just touch on the actual product within itself. Basically, the product that I'll be installing onto my TACTICON Armament Battle Vest Elite is the at least knockoff version of the Warfighter Cumberbund that Agilite sells. I got this specific Cumberbund system from AliExpress. I'll touch on retail price for certain items on the next video per my low budget update video, like I normally do. Those are usually the videos that will do a mainstay feature of price points and provide the necessary at least total calculation for everything on this specific loadout. So this will just kind of primarily just highlight the build of the video within itself, but with all that kind of explained, for the most part, this is, like I stated before, the knockoff variant of the Warfighter Cumberbund. I had to do a little bit of retrofitting on this specific setup, similar to what I kind of had to do with retrofit to create that mock Pincer placard on the front of the plate carrier system. Agilite within itself does at least supply for its K19 Plate Carrier system a Warfighter Cumberbund retrofit, which essentially just is a hook and loop malleable panel that has a flap with more molly on it, where you basically open the flap up. You have at least I believe it's the loop side of Velcro, and then essentially the Warfighter back hook and loop portion of the Cumberbund setup just velcros to that malleable panel, and then you'd basically just pull the flap down, and it kind of, like any type of placard system or mock placard system, everything kind of sandwiches down and keeps everything nice and contained, and then wham bam, thank you ma'am, you're good to go. I kind of created a little bit of a mock similar setup, but I kind of ran into a couple of these annoying differences that I did notice just right off the rip that is a little bit different with the TACTICON Armament Battle Vest Elite versus the Agilite K19. One of which being that little Velcro middle section on the back plate carrier bag. You do see that there's laser cut slits there, which does at least show the display at least that you could molly items into that area, but the unfortunate reality is that all of those laser cut slits are actually sewn down onto the plate carrier, so it does not offer much of any type of molly accessibility unless you were going to basically take a knife and kind of open up the stitching on that end to open up those slits, which was kind of dumb, all things considered, because why have laser cut slits on the back end of your plate carrier if you, in most instances that's the intended purpose, would be to have at least an item that you can molly on, but then sew everything across. So that was kind of one of the biggest highlight differences that makes this specific knockoff of the Agilite K19 drastically different than obviously the existing K19. So I had to create a little bit of a mock retrofit where I basically had to take the two tabs of the flap, the hook and loop flap that you obviously see me installing now, I had to tuck the middle ones in on itself, and then unfortunately just use the 2 outer tabs, molly them in, and kind of, even though it is a little bit less of a structural hold, it's still a hold within itself, and utilize that as the main structure of holding that specific, at least, flap or panel into place. I might down the line maybe install some one wrap Velcro on those middle tabs to at least create like at least the what is it, like 3 flaps, at least on the malleable end of the panel. Do one wrap Velcro on each one of those to maybe create like a secondary hold on the actual Velcro portion of the plate carrier that's located in the middle lower section of the Battle Vest Elite. So I might end up doing that down the line, but it was definitely one of these annoying things where you kind of have at least a game plan set up for how you're going to kind of install this thing, and then once you actually get everything down on the table and start the process up, you realize that that certain features that you thought were readily available and easy, like laser cut slits for mollying, were just sewed shut, which again was kind of a joke. But all things considered, I made the best out of it and got the at least the panel in like you would basically any malleable panel for the most part. So with all the rambling aside, I'll just kind of let you guys kind of watch me molly this thing on for the next, I guess, minute or so, which really wasn't incredibly too difficult, but it is kind of at least the primary forefront, or at least the primary, I guess I would say mechanism, primary thing that holds the Warfighter, at least the knockoff Warfighter Cumberbund, into place. Because for anybody that at least owns the Warfighter Cumberbund or looking to purchase it, it's essentially just a Velcro-able Cumberbund system, similar to a lot of the other Cumberbund systems that you get from a lot of other manufacturers. So as long as you find at least an accessibility to create some sort of hook and loop adhesive on the backside of the plate carrier, the rest of the installation of the Cumberbund system is pretty easy and cut and dry for the most part. But yeah, like I said, I'll let you guys watch me finish up on this, and I'll jump back in a couple minutes. Alrighty, now as we're kind of getting to the home stretch of the molly of the back panel, just to kind of touch on a couple editing things. Obviously, which you'll see kind of in the next minute or so of me doing this back panel, I got rudely interrupted by a phone call, which kind of had me have to put the install on pause in order to take said call, then get back to the installation process. So when you see, obviously, what you older guys will notice is just a sudden stop in the work, and then the at least viewpoint of the finished product. That was why. But yeah, and then all things considered, for most of the subscribers that follow the channel know that I am using the good old trusty tactical butter knife for my install, which is a fan favorite and I guess infamous for a lot of people on the channel because of the fact that it gets so many comments down the line. As I stated multiple times, for those of you who know the tactical butter knife has been a mainstay on the channel for basically since the beginning. I know that I could use other tools like pliers, and I could use other tools like an actual legitimate knife and a number of different things to at least help assist in the molly portion. But got to keep things interesting. And actually, in all honesty, the butter knife within itself at least does it is a more effective tool for mollying things in than you would think. It does allow at least the availability to get into those kind of, those crevices, those slits on the backside of the molly and be able to reach and grab and slide out. I do know that needle nose will probably be more effective, but my stubborn ass across the board definitely won't allow me to do that. Plus, like I stated before, the tactical butter knife is a mainstay on the channel, so I continue using it mainly because of that.
Good morning, boys!
Morning never wears bra.
I had a dream about you last night, White Knight.
Oh, that's nice.
Not nice dream. In dream, you naughty. You naughty, White Knight.
Alrighty, now back at it. After handling a phone call or two, basically getting back to the actual back panel. As you can see, this is the finished product. Nothing too complex with it across the board, as I did state before. It is just a standard hook and loop back panel to allow for the knockoff Warfighter Cumberbund to fit onto. Quality-wise of the knockoff Warfighter Cumberbund is surprisingly good quality. Make sure to obviously stay tuned to the channel. I will be featuring a tactical comparison of the actual Warfighter Cumberbund with this knockoff variant. No surprise to anybody that's watched the channel, more than likely across the board, at least at this present time when filming and recording this specific video, I do not yet have the Warfighter Cumberbund, so this is actually my first experience to something of that nature or similar to it. But no surprise to anybody that follows the channel, as I was saying. I wouldn't be surprised if the Warfighter Cumberbund within itself and this knockoff variant are pretty similar in overall quality. Obviously, there might be some slight discrepancies, maybe in maybe stitching or maybe even material, which I doubt, or in dyes on the specific material across the board. Everybody always wants to make mention to the cheaper quality, at least being less, at least IR resistant, or basically to some regards just that it that the internal either dyes in the material will light up like a Christmas tree. That seems to be the most common nomenclature when people say light up like a Christmas tree, when at least in the preview of IR and night vision. That likely could be the case. I plan on doing some tactical at least review videos, or at least with getting a lot of this knockoff equipment under night vision for the most part, to see how reflective it is under certain IR conditions. So of course look out for that in the future. But first thing I got to do in order to get that is get the actual night vision setup. But going back to the install, for those that were paying at least attention and not listening to me rambling, what I basically did was I took the existing Cumberbund setup and configuration of at least the existing Cumberbund setup with the rock buckles, and I just used a pair of shears to basically cut off the rock buckles within themselves. Now, the nice thing about the Warfighter Cumberbund within itself and its obvious clone counterpart is that you can actually, they have a hook portion, or at least a assembly portion on the Cumberbund that allows you to basically take lift up a specific flap, which you were actually did take a look at a little bit earlier, and you will showcase when I install the buckles within themselves. Lift a flap and you have two nylon strands that basically you can weave into the rock buckles within themselves and essentially reinstall buckles onto the existing Warfighter or knockoff Warfighter Cumberbund, which actually I am showcasing at this present moment, which is kind of neat because it does give you the variable option to go either full Velcro if you wanted to, but if you did have existing rock buckles from your existing plate carrier setup that you didn't necessarily want to get rid of, or at least in this specific instance, the TACTICON Armament rock buckles are actually sewn in, so they don't really allow you much variance to kind of get rid of the rock buckles. I mean, you could obviously take Velcro overlap of the inner rock buckle within itself, but being as that that already had available rock buckles to use, I figured it would only made sense to cut those bad boys out of the existing Cumberbund system, which at that present point just turns the existing Cumberbund system into just a bunch of just scrap nylon, which I'll either probably likely just throw away at some point, or reuse maybe the G-hooks or anything like that. But like I said, cut out the actual buckle within itself, and then you can reinstall it onto the Warfighter Cumberbund, which again is pretty smart in engineering. And I would assume if this Warfighter Cumberbund clone is anything similar to the actual Warfighter Cumberbund within itself, then I can't see how that would be any different for that as well. It's just kind of an ingenious just kind of idea. Like I said, it allows for modularity and the ability to kind of adjust and install your plate carrier as you see fit, and you're not really locked solid to any specific layout or system, as we know with specific Cumberbund systems, where basically they, you essentially in some instances have to buy a brand new Cumberbund setup if you want anything that has at least doesn't have a buckle setup whatsoever, and it's just strictly Velcro that, or have some sort of like retrofit kit in order to get it to get buckles onto your system. Like I think Pharaoh Concepts has their own variant. I think a number of different Cry Precision I think has a variant too that allows you to obviously install buckle system onto the Cumberbund system. But from here, it's just basically throwing on the buckles within themselves. As I said, buckles for probably 100 times, and that was probably 101. You'll see these bad boys being installed, and then for the most part, as I've said many times, wham bam, thank you ma'am, you're good to go. Those buckles are now installed. That's like what, 102 now. Yeah, and then you just slide them in, connect, and you're good to go. Now, if anybody is interested in seeing like a short video down the line of how I installed or made the retrofit for the Pincer placard, which is right there at the front, feel free to let me know in the comments section. I could do a little short video of how I did that. Needless to say, it's not rocket science. It's just a placard, Molly placard system in which I just mollied on 3 knockoff pincers that again I got from AliExpress and created my own retrofit pincer placard, because as I stated in a previous video, AliExpress does not sell an actual pincer placard setup. They just sell the individual pincers within themselves. From here, you got a 360-degree review, or at least a look of the installation, and then of course I will then reinstall the TACTICON Armament Battle Pack Elite, which is the knockoff variant of the AMAP 3 from Agilite. Get all that stuff all set up, and then I'm pretty much good to go with the install. But just a couple things to touch on. I will probably add another edition, which was actually on a previous one of my low budget update videos for this specific plate carrier system. I did originally have on the old existing Cumberbund setup 2 at least interior, at least hard armor panels that are kind of a variant knockoff of what Agilite sells. All consider, I think Agilite calls it like the flank side panel, but essentially it's just side pouches for side armor. Tacticon sells like a cheaper, less high quality variant of that. I will probably end up installing those bad boys onto the inner seam of the Cumberbund system, just to kind of give it a little additional support there on the sides. But after that, that's pretty much I think what I'm kind of going to be the end result of this specific loadout within itself. Obviously, as I stated before, and as anybody that's followed the channel, the budget builds generally lead into, from that point, a low budget loadout, or in this specific instance, a low budget update, since this is the part 3 of this specific build. Many people that have watched at least the channel for a while now have seen this thing kind of, at least the specific plate carrier, kind of evolve and change. But yeah, all things considered, feel free to check into the next video, which will be the low budget update video, to see price points for all the specific parts and components on this specific plate carrier. But all things considered, this is kind of going to be the finished product, aside from the interior side armor plate panels that I will be installing, but I did highlight them on a previous low budget update video. So it's not anything new that I am necessarily adding to this plate carrier system, more so just re-adding to it, because I did initially take them off beforehand. But yeah, that is it. That's the finished product. Wasn't really too complex to install. And again, if you guys want to see me do the Pincer placard, let me know in the comments section.
Excuse me, I have to ask you, why are you peeing right here?
What?
I mean, Why'd you pee right next to me when you, like, choose that bush? Or...
Well, it's not a good bush to pee on. Why are you peeing on it?
Well, no one was here when I chose this bush.
Oh! So you get to pee on it? No one else does? Huh?
No, I just...
This your bush? You have a special bond with this bush?
No, I just thought that it
You're the king of the forest?
I'm sorry?
What?
Alrighty guys, I hope you liked the video. Of course, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let me know what you think of today's budget build video. Let me know what you think of the budget build segment of videos in its entirety. As I've kind of made mention a couple times before, at least with these specific budget loadout systems, the ones that I've featured as mainstays within the last year and a half, I am kind of getting to their final evolution, as I said in the intro, to where I would be basically at least holding fast on any more additional budget build videos. Long and short of it is, I guess, my template's pretty much, if once I get to a budget build part 3, it's pretty much going to be a wrap. And the part 3 is kind of the final incorporation, or it's the final showcase, I guess, of the final build to where I kind of want it to be, at least at this present point. There might be some shifts, changes, additions, subtractions, and everything down the line, but most of which will not be recorded. They will just be featured in some sort of low budget update as these systems progress, and as I start being kind of a little bit more meticulous and trying to break these clone systems down through repeated use and seeing how they hold up over a prolonged period of time. Main thing is this stuff takes time. I'm not a grunt, or I'm not a military guy. I'm not law enforcement or anything of that nature. So with the amount of plate carriers that I am testing currently, it's a lot harder for me than anybody who's actually out in the shit fairly regularly, or running around in plate carriers training fairly regularly. I get quite a bit of training in on my own personal free time, and in the process of getting training lined up with trained instructors and stuff like that to try to break these things down, break them in, and see if these things truly do last at least an extended period of time for the average Joe looking to find themselves an affordable plate carrier system. But with all the rambling out of the way, I'll touch on the same stuff that I normally touch on at the end of every video. I do have a Twitter/X. Feel free to hit the link down in the description down below if you want to follow me there. I do have a Patreon. Feel free to hit the link down in the description down below if you want to follow me there as well. I do apologize if I was a little bit wordy in this specific intro and outro. Some guys prefer it. Some guys ask for more dialogue. Other guys say I talk too much. In the state of YouTube, it's hard to make everybody happy, so I'm kind of making minor adjustments in both ends. If you feel I ramble too much, let me know down in the comments. If you feel like you want more added commentary, a little bit more of my personality in these videos, feel free to put that down in the comments down below as well. And slowly, as the YouTube channel at least grows and compounds, I will start taking that input and hopefully building out a more entertaining channel for you guys to watch. But with all of that out of the way, I will see you guys next week.